Hey now, good morning, VSW staff, clients, friends joining us. Welcome for Monday's film scoring class. This is when we look at a clip, right? I take out the music and you come up with music that fits just as good. We've been doing better and better. There's a prize monthly too, so join in, and it's never too late. Today we're gonna make sure this class stays below 50 miles per hour, because we're gonna be looking at a really fun action movie that was big, came out in 1994. Personally, one of my favorite action movies. It's so much fun, and the scene we're going to be looking at is going to be very groovy. So let's get right into it. Let's jump into the 1994 film Speed. Speed is an American action thriller film directed by Jan de Bont. His feature film debut, he's a cinematographer, or at least trained as a cinematographer, and this was the first time he directed a movie. He directed a bunch of action movies, but probably the biggest one that he shot was Die Hard. John McTiernan was the director for Die Hard, but he was the cinematographer for Die Hard. And they asked John McTiernan if he wanted to direct this, and he said this was too much like Die Hard, and it is. It's kind of about, all the action takes place in, instead of a building like in Die Hard, it's on a bus. Most of it takes place on a bus. Stars Keanu Reeves and Dennis Hopper and Sandra Bullock and Jeff Daniels, and it's about a bus that has a bomb on it, and this mad guy, Dennis Hopper is the villain, and he puts a bomb on a bus, and if it goes below 50 miles an hour, the bus explodes, and if you get anybody off the bus explodes. So he's controlling this all in his apartment on a remote control thing, and it's just so much fun.
Watch the road! Oh, shit.
Not only is they were worried about the story only being boring in case it was on a bus, but there's a great elevator sequence in the beginning, and then there's a great metro sequence at the end. So full of just delightful surprises. Winning 2 Academy Awards, Best Sound Effects Editing and Best Sound. Budget was $30 million, quite a big budget, but makes $350 million. So in 94, you get some other good action movies. You get The River Wild, which I love that movie. Shawshank, which we scored, another huge movie. Pulp Fiction, which we talked about, comes out this year. Four Weddings and a Funeral, not an action movie at all, but now the Richard Curtis English, pre-Downton Abbey era is coming in. We get comedies like The Mask and Dumb and Dumber, who Jeff Daniels stars in that as well. So, a lot of big movies come out that year. That's just a few. Jan de Bont, like I said, Dutch cinematographer and film producer. Also did Twister as well after this, which was another good action movie. So he cast Keanu Reeves after seeing him in Point Break, which is a really fun, great movie too. He thought the actor was vulnerable on the screen. He says he's not threatening to the man because he's not that bulky, but looks great to women as well. And I know Bonnie's a big fan of Keanu Reeves as well as a lot of other people. He did about 90% of his own stunts on this. Now we know him from John Wick doing all, he's a legit actor, especially stunt guy. But back then, 90% of your own stunts was pretty much doing almost the whole movie. And even the scene where he's tethered to the bottom of the bus is really him. It's very dangerous. They wanted Halle Berry, but she declined to be in the role. So Sandra Bullock was the one, and this kind of made her a huge star too. She had to take driving lessons for bus driving lessons for the part, and yeah, she passed. So the composer is Mark Mancina. He's an American film composer, musician, producer, veteran of the Hans Zimmer school. So he studied under Hans Zimmer, but scored over 60 films, television series, Bad Boys, and he did Twister as well, and Criminal Minds, and classically trained guitarist. And this score to this is it's a really fun action movie with a lot of electronics. Like we talked about film composers kind of in the 90s starting in the 90s, using the orchestra with electronic effects, with percussive effects. And this score has a lot of that. So the scene we're going to look at is, maybe you've heard of the scene, it's the scene where the bus has to keep going. Otherwise it blows up, right? So they have to keep going. They get a fuel truck, they get all this stuff, but if it goes below 50, if they stop it, it blows up. Everyone on the bus is dead. So they realize that they're on a freeway that's not finished. And this was actually the 105 freeway in 1993. It was not finished. So the scene was not originally in the script, but Jan de Bont came up with the idea when he was driving around LA, and he noticed a section of the 105 freeway missing, and he said, maybe that would be extra exciting if we included this scene. So this is a bus jump scene that and it's pretty cool. So in reality, that there wasn't really a missing piece. They went back later and virtually erased the little chunk that's missing, because the chunk was there. They just took it away. But the freeway was not open and not completed yet. So the freeway said, hey, you can use it. It's a perfect way to not shut down a freeway. Why don't you just, use it? So for the sequence, a ramp was built for the bus, because you still have to make it look like it's, even if there is something below it, it needs to look like there's nothing below it. So it started from about a mile back, the bus, and then accelerates toward the ramp. By the time it hit the ramp, it reached 61 miles per hour, and it traveled 109 feet, and the front wheels reached an altitude of 20 feet off the ground. I mean, this is really scary. This is before special effects. You really had to do it. And it was higher than everybody in the crew anticipated. In fact, the first few times it broke a bunch of cameras because they weren't placed correctly. So they had to do it a few times. So let's take a look at the really exciting scene when they're going to have to leap to keep the bus from going. They're going to have to leap across the freeway. Let's take a look at the scene.
Everybody hold on!
Really exciting, right? I mean, they make it, of course, because it's an action movie, and there's, again, like with Gladiator and other movies, so much of the excitement is the score, but also the sound effects and the people and the sound of the bus and the screeching and the tires, all that stuff. So that's, without that, you could still have just music, but that, and you notice too, the music stops when it leaves the freeway. We've seen this in action movies before too, either when you have a full score and then when the moment hits, sometimes the score drops out for dramatic purposes, right? Not always. Sometimes the score gets louder. Sometimes the sounds drop out and the score takes over. Here, the score drops off and the sounds really take over. So it's really just a director's choice. The director gets to choose in the end which effect he wants, because I would think if the music drops out and the sound effects come in, that would be more of a realistic thing. Whereas if it's the opposite, if the music sweeps in, it's kind of more like not like dreamlike, but less realistic perhaps. So it really just it matters. Also, in action movies, especially in the '90s, did this all the time. Maybe the last scene you would do that, but not. This is kind of this is not the last scene in the movie. This is maybe halfway through or something. So that also depends. Okay, let's look at it. Sans music. Still very scary. So come up with music that's going to be exciting. Your music doesn't have to stop when the bus comes off. It can do whatever. It can play through. I just thought it'd be a really fun. It's one of the best action sequences ever. MythBusters recreated it, and I think they determined, and they're experts. They determined that the jump would not have been possible, so they would not have made it in real life. Still, it looks almost possible. So it's just a really fun. Speed is a great movie. You should check it out if you like action movies. If you just want to unwind and not just think about the real world, and it's just really, really fun. Although it's a realistic, not realistic. You know what I mean. Just watch it if you want. If you like action movies, do it. You don't have to. You can just, but yeah, get me the music by tomorrow, by Tuesday. We'll see it on Friday. It's going to be Lloyderific, Johnerific, Bonnierific week. Why wouldn't it be? Even Megan-erific. Megan likes these classes too, so thank you for watching. Okay, I think that's it. Tomorrow's going to be really fun. Okay, love you, miss you, and see you tomorrow.